Welcome to Valuable Coaching Volleyball Edition. Happy Friday. Fun Friday today. We're going to talk about some fun activities that you can do to help build culture with your volleyball teams, really with any team. If you're listening, you coach something different. But it's important to get some team bonding in throughout the season. It's important to use it to help build that culture and bring your players together. So I know one thing that I've found very simple, and we talked about simple things earlier in the week, is just being able to go out after practice, or even giving a team in high school a day off from practice, and going and meeting them for frozen yogurt. Like it's so easy. And if you have parents, especially too, that are willing to, either pay for it, or maybe you have some funding. I know we had some money set aside for funding for team activities. It's so amazing because they're excited not to have practice because they do have very busy lives. I mean, there's homework, and like you said, applying for schools was something that you brought up the other day. But it's so easy. And as a coach, it's easy. A lot of times as high schoolers, they can organize it themselves. You go show up, and, for them to see you outside of that practice environment too, I think is really valuable. That I think both as teachers and coaches, sometimes they see us and they think we just like live in the gym. Yep. And that we don't leave, and that's all we ever think about. And when you get to go there and you something as simple, like I said, you order some frozen yogurt, they see what toppings you get on it. Maybe they give you a hard time. You can give them a little bit of a hard time about what they're doing. Like, hey, that looks ridiculous. Why do you have all those gummy bears and gummy worms and like every candy possible is on top of your ice cream? Like that just is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's frozen yogurt. Everyone loves it. It's like pizza. I think that's a good point. And I'm a firm believer in this because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, everyone likes winning. Who doesn't? I understand that there's a scoreboard. I don't care if they're 4 years old or they're in the Olympics. I get it. We want to win. And I get that you got to have a program that establishes that, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I would hope when I have children, hopefully one day, or when I'm working with my student athletes, I want it to stem that they're having fun. I want them to have fun in the program. I mean, they're devoting a ton of their time. Yes, are they learning life skills? Yes, are they learning valuable lessons? Are they competing? Are they getting in great shape? Yeah, but I really want them to have fun. And so I would encourage the coaches listening is it's okay as a coach to look at your resources. Like, one thing is we always have captains on the team that I work with, and they're an extension of kind of my voice. And I sometimes pull them aside like, hey, I want to do something really fun with the team. What do you think? Because sometimes these kids, as young as I want to still think I am, I'm not 16 and 15 anymore. I'm 34 and I'm twice as old as them, sadly. Yeah, so sometimes they come up, like one time they said, hey, we want to go to an escape room and do that. And there's one in San Diego. And I wouldn't have thought of that. And I was like, all right, and I'm fortunate where I'm at a school where we have the resources where they can do a lot of things. And yeah, it was great. But I think simple things I love to always take them. Bishops is right by UC San Diego. So I like to take them to a match every year. I think that's cool. I think I love to do just a random wiffle ball game with them, where it's like
we played a lot of wiffle ball in college on trips.
And it was just fun. Yeah, I think the advantage of that is it's like, look, put your hair down, put everything aside. This is not volleyball, and I usually like to do those kind of in the off season, where it's like, or spike ball is really important, valuable to these kids. They like just something that's not really volleyball, and we're still playing. And then another thing is to stay true to our philosophy and stuff. What we talked about earlier this week is I do a thing called guest coaching. And the reason I do it is I try to teach these children, like, look, you don't have to be a pro volleyball player. There's something more to it. You could do this, or this is valued in our life. And a police chief can talk about the value of being a police chief and how it relates to volleyball. But I think you can have fun with it. Like one thing, spoiler alert, we'll see if I figure it out, but the guys that created the ugly sweaters, they're from San Diego. And I think it'd be really funny if they created like a Bishop's volleyball ugly sweater. I'm actually trying to get in touch with them for them to be our guest coaches. And I think it fits in our philosophy. Our philosophy is community, get people involved, but then also like what kid right now doesn't like an ugly sweater? That's really popular. They were on Shark Tank. So that's what I would say also, like, there's things you could do in Chicago that are different than San Diego. There's things you can do in New York. So it's like scan your environment, see where you live, and like hopefully I pull that off where, I think it'd be cool to see the ugly sweater guys and they live in San Diego and I got to make a connection, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are the types of things that I like to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we're coaching a sport that is a lot of fun. And again, even if you're coaching a different sport, like when it comes down to it, like I think back the first times I played volleyball, I didn't know much about it. I had somebody else say, "Hey, we want to try out." And, I got to playing it and it was hard at first. It had some hard skills, but it was just so much fun. Like, it's so rewarding when you make a good play. And so you want to carry that over, and then you want the kids to understand that there's more to life than just that. Because, you may have a tough loss. I've actually found that one of the most valuable times actually to give them one of these kind of, fun activity, team building kind of days is after a tough loss or a lot of times high school early in the season, you do a tournament, and some of those tournaments can be tough. You may run up against a private school where those kids are playing, around each other. And you're a school that just, had tryouts with, 50 kids and you've had practice for 2 weeks. It's a little tough to be ready for that and face that competition. So, you get beat up in those and you roll back that Monday and you harp on them about all the mistakes they made, that doesn't make it very fun.
Yeah.
So it's great to say, hey, you know what, Monday we're going to meet, at the beach volleyball courts if you got them, or we're going to meet at the grass and we're going to play, like you said, play wiffle ball, or we're going to do something different to start practice off. That's, totally off the beaten path, and let them know that you didn't forget about the fact that they're kids and they want to have fun, and that, you're not there to be their drill sergeant.
Yeah.
They can do that later on. That's valuable.
And if your financial resources are low, which 95% of high school programs are, and I totally respect that and get that, then you can also do, like, remember when Coach Fisher and Coach Wortman at the University Pacific, we would just start practice like a warm up, and it's like he was like, "Hey, let's play soccer for 3 minutes." And as crazy as you might think a college program doing it fired us up. Yeah. We would take our shirts off, tie it around our heads. We'd act like professional soccer just for 3 minutes, and it was like, hey, let your hair down.
A lot of flopping.
Yeah, exactly, and like goal, but like all that didn't cost Coach Wortman or Coach Fisher money, but look how fired up Miles and I just got about that.
Well, like I said, the wiffle ball, I mean, geez, a wiffle ball, like you can buy those wiffle ball bat and ball sets for next to nothing. And again, it's a lot of fun. And you get to see too, who's had experience playing baseball in the past. And you can see sometimes who hasn't. And, it's fun, especially if you built that culture that we talked about yesterday already, where you can feel comfortable kind of, it's obviously going to depend on your players and stuff, but if you feel comfortable giving each other a little bit of a hard time and being a little bit sarcastic, like, it can be fun. Like, I can remember a few players who struggled a little bit with the wiffle ball, and, we'd give them a hard time, but they'd laugh at it, and, they could go back in the gym and laugh at us when they were doing something better than we were.
For sure. So. And also at all levels, all genders, scavenger hunts have been really successful. It's also very cost effective, and I've done them in downtown San Diego. I've done them in La Jolla. Like, you could do it on your campus. You can get other teachers and teams involved.
That's a great idea.
That's one that's, you probably won't practice that day, but instead you'll do a scavenger hunt. You could do like seniors and freshmen versus sophomores and juniors, and a great way to, get the freshmen integrated into your program and all that good stuff. So a lot of strategies. It'd be great to hear from your guys' strategies, you listeners, if you email us and stuff, because I'm always up for ideas and trying them out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, please, if you're watching this, or, even if you listen to it, if you'll just jump on YouTube and hit subscribe, that'd be a good way to hook up with us and be able to say, hey, I do this activity, or, hey, can you expand a little bit on the scavenger hunt idea? What kind of things do you have them look for? And we'd love to be able to connect more. Also, we're on Instagram at Valuable Coaching, and that's another great place. When we post some of these, or if we post smaller snippets or pictures, ask us some questions. We'll start trying to put some more questions out to you guys as well. But yeah, it's been a great week talking about practice planning on Monday. We looked at keeping things simple, and that was kind of a theme throughout the week, really, even with the practice planning. We kind of talked a bit about individual drills versus 6-on-6. A little bit of debate there, but I think kind of a conclusion was just that whatever works really for your program, you're gonna have to figure that out. But also, don't be afraid of 6-on-6 if that's something you've been nervous about. And, certainly utilize individual drills where you can when you think it's important. And then building culture, that's really what even today was about. It's about expanding on that culture and making sure that it's a culture that is fun and is energetic, and again, leaves lasting memories. I think both of us just now were able to think back and be like, oh man, so much fun. Like, I don't know that he'd be listening, but if you've seen that, I know you're a Cubs fan, so
huge.
Bill Buckner. Like, sorry to bring up painful memories for Cubs fans. Thankfully, you're tiny when that happened, so
yes,
not a big deal. But we had somebody, one of those first football games, miss a ball, and man, Buckner stuck with him for a long time. So all the way through. And so again, those are lasting memories that, as a player and now as a coach, like I strive to try and do those things. And there is nothing that feels better than when a student athlete comes back to you and lets you know one of those types of memories, or lets you know that you gave them an enjoyable experience that they grew from. And so, that's really what this is all about. I think if you go back and listen to the coaches that we've talked to in the past, that's what they're doing for their players right now. And, I think it's no coincidence those are the coaches that we've talked to so far, and the ones we have, in the future are going to be similar to that, because we're gravitating toward those coaches that are, making these lasting impacts on players. So anyway, anything you want to add?
Awesome. Yeah, it was a heck of a week, and we encourage you guys to keep listening, push the content out, and we're obviously passionate about it. And I know you coaches are out there too, and can't wait to hear from you and keep expanding this.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like the shirts we're wearing in today's episode, they got a cool logo provided to us by One Stone Apparel. Check them out at onestoneapparel.com. Great shirts, apparel, PE uniforms, volleyball uniforms, anything you need. Check them out, onestoneapparel.com.